When time is up and the sun it dies, until the rivers flood and the ocean dries. Hand in hand under the falling sky, I will love you.
Well, the story gets more interesting, guys. Are you ready?
Yes.
Are you ready to listen to this? So when he called me, he's like, where are you? I'm like, in the taxi, heading to Nigeria. You've told me to meet you in Nigeria. He's like, but come on, I don't remember telling you to meet in Nigeria. Then I got really confused. I'm like, what am I on? Little did I know that I'm talking to two people. Remember the other guy I told you, those who've been following the story?
Yes.
Those who follow the story, here
Yeah.
is it.
Yeah.
So remember, there's a guy I had met before. That guy was called Steve, and I had saved his number as Steve.
Yes.
Then I saved the new guy, the new Steve, still his number as Steve. But when I was calling, I did not notice that one number was Airtel and another number was MTN. So I called the old guy. So when I called him, I think it was an opportunity for him. It's like, oh, now it's chance.
I've got
because
you.
that time when he tried to
I've
call,
got you.
I ignored him. So he says, we can meet in Nigeria. And how, imagine such an embarrassment of a girl calling you. That is what I thought.
Setting yourself
Yeah,
up.
setting yourself up later on. I was like, oh, it's embarrassing. But anyway.
Yeah.
So he told me, yeah. So along the way, where was I? Along the way,
Yes.
when another Steve called, I did not still recognize. Imagine how young, was I young or? I don't know how I can
We
tell
were
them.
taking you process by process.
They were taking me. Speedy area 80 day.
Yes.
But anyway, when he called, he's like, but I don't remember telling you that we will meet in Nigeria. But well, if you're in Nigeria or if you're heading to Nigeria, please, it's okay. Let me meet you there. I'm like, cool. So I get to Nigeria, and in my heart, I'm like, after this meetup, actually that time I didn't think anything. I didn't know what was happening. So I got to Nigeria, I called, and guess who I see? I see that guy I met the first time. Can you imagine? I saw him and I'm like, what is this? So this friend of mine set me up for this
For the
guy
same-
again. The guy who didn't seem serious. The guy who was not up to you guys. But anyway, as usual, as a cool Eve.
Yes. You got to humble yourself up.
Yeah, I was humble enough to be like, well, it's okay. So he said, yeah, you called me. I'm like, well, because you told me we can meet. He's like, it's okay. He didn't complain. You can imagine. He didn't complain. He didn't tell me that you're meeting a wrong person. He was just like, oh, yeah, I tried your number some time back, but it didn't go through. So now that you're here, can we find somewhere to sit and chat? I'm like, cool. So we went in a close by restaurant. We sat. In my head, I didn't know that I was with a different Steve, but I was boiling inside, and I'm like, I must attack this friend of mine for lying to me.
Yep. For
So
setting
as
you up.
I realized another call came in. So when another call came in, I picked up. I'm like, hello, where are you? I'm heading to Nigeria. You've told me you're in Nigeria already. I'm like, come on. I looked at him. He also looked at me. We all looked confused because none of us had told each other that, we are not supposed to meet.
Yes.
So I looked at him. He's like, is everything okay? I'm like, yeah, everything is okay, but you've been calling me. He's like, oh yeah, but I think he was also confused, I guess.
He's playing smart.
Yeah, he played it cool, like he played it smart, just like you said.
Yeah.
So we sat there. Then when I saw this call coming in, he told me, this new Steve now tells me, I know you are lost.
Yep.
Please stay where you are.
Exactly. Those were the words.
He told me, I know you're lost, but please stay where you are. You're in Nigeria, where exactly? I remember there's that supermarket over Nigeria 2. Either Nigeria 2 or Nigeria 1. That spot. So he told me, stay where you are. I turned to this guy. I told him, I am very sorry. He's like, what's the problem? I looked into my contacts. I realized that I was talking to two people, but I could not recognize the different voices. One was MTN, another one was Airtel. So I told him, I am sorry. I think I am not supposed to meet you.
Yes.
There is a guy I was supposed to see. He was coming with my documents. I lied.
Yep.
God forgive me.
For me to win, they got to be
Anyway,
Yep.
there is no way I was going to escape that because I felt like it was an embarrassment. How do I call a guy to meet him? So I told him, you know what? I was at a cafe sometime and then I forgot my documents. And I've been in contact with this guy so that he can bring the what? The documents. So he asked me, is the guy coming to give you the documents? I'm like, yes, he's coming. He's like, oh, okay, fine. Let's wait for him to bring the documents. Now here I am. The other guy calls now, the Steve.
Yes.
He calls me, he's like, oh, baby, where are you? I'm like, oh, close. So he reached and he told me the car he was driving. I went towards the car with this guy. Yeah, I remember he was.
Yes, I remember he came accompanying you. When I arrived, I opened the door as usual.
Yeah, he opened. Do you still open the door for me,
Oh.
baby? You should.
Oh yes, I do. I do open the door for this lady. Only that, yeah, it does happen. So
Yeah.
I still do some of those things.
Sometimes,
Yes.
not always.
You know, this year, 11th year, I'm purposing to.
Renew the love.
Everything must go back the way it was.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happened next
Yeah,
after
so
opening?
when he opened the door, the sign was, the gesture was, I've opened for you to enter. And then the guy I was standing with was all like, please get your documents and then we go back and
Yes.
have our good time.
Yes.
Then I was in the middle of confusion. What do I do?
Yeah.
Should I lie to this one? What do I do? But truth is, I was ready to meet the person that had told me that we are supposed to meet. The new guy. So I turned to this guy. I'm like, I'm sorry, I think it's getting late.
Yes.
And my mother must be waiting for me home. I'm going to ask this guy to give me a lift. Then the guy is like, it's okay, but maybe you can go a bit later. I'm like, no, it's getting late. Let him give me
A
a
lift.
lift. So I enter in the car. The guy keeps looking at me, going with another man. So he drove off. We went and
Yep. That was really a very.
crazy.
It was a nice moment for me because I did not realize all that had happened.
Yeah.
I could not even tell that probably she was lost with another person engagement.
Yeah.
My observation was I only saw a woman that I was waiting to see, and when I opened the car, quickly she entered. So I didn't read any body language with the person. I simply waved, thinking probably that could be a relative. So I simply drove off with my beautiful queen.
And I remember something very funny, like, you know, when you were driving, why did you turn to look at that guy?
I simply,
it's nature.
I simply turned and looked at the fellow. I said, I don't know,
He has
probably,
lost.
probably it is, I don't know, like, I thought it was a relative.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't want to be judgmental
Yeah.
on day one.
I know.
So I knew the fact that you had chosen to come with me, it was already green light enough for me that, hey, I am the dude. So I drove you to a special place called
Zanzibar. You need to take me back to the Zanzibar, by the way. I remember the fish.
yeah, that special day. I'm really blessed. My wife remembers what the meal we had, and when I reached
Do you
Zanzibar,
remember how I was dressed? Can you?
I may not remember
I
so
bet.
well, but there was a dress you were putting on. I keep on calling it chitenji, but she was dressed humbly and decent. That day I saw a God-fearing girl, smartly dressed, very humble, good listening, and when I opened the door for her, I was really so gentle that day. I had to play all my cards right because from first sight, I loved what I had seen. So I pulled the car out, took her to have a seat, got the chair out, let her sit, and I sat last. My first words to her were,
I like you.
I like you.
Yeah, he said he liked me, and truth is, I looked at this gentleman. He was calm. That is one of the things that I noticed about you. You were calm, well composed. Then we had a chat. We talked. You know, we talked and then had our meal. But you kept looking at me.
Yes, I was observing all the features that I would have loved on a woman. I looked at her
You made
legs.
love.
I want to be very serious with this. I looked at her legs. I looked at her hands. I looked at her face, and she was truly humble, and she was beautiful. I said, now I like you. And when she started speaking, she was speaking with wisdom. I said, I am going to marry you. So from that day, we started moving so fast as if we had met 6 months back.
Yeah, actually, it was really worrying on my side and on the friends and family. They were like, the guy is taking you so fast. Could he be Amfere, as we say these days? The guy must be Amfere because, trust me, from that day, we kept meeting.
Yes.
And I think the following day is one of the days that I can never forget.
Yes. What happened on
Yeah.
that day? What happened? What happened? Remind
When
me.
we met, I was not feeling so well. I had some bit of cough. So, and on that particular day when we met, he had lost an uncle. So, but he didn't tell me that he had lost an uncle. It's after our meeting, then he told me, you know what, I've received a message, I've lost my uncle, but I'll be going to for burial.
Yes. May his soul
Tomorrow.
rest in peace.
Yeah. So then he told me, but before going to the burial, I'll pass by. Because when he took me back on that date, that very first date, he took me back home. And then he was like, where do you stay? I'm like, you can just, leave me here. I didn't take him right to where I stayed for reasons you all know. Like, you don't want the Mufere to know where you stay. Anyway, jokes aside, the next day when he came with medicine, and that is a time I think I really fell in love.
Yep.
I don't know if they talk about love at the first sight.
Yes.
Probably for you it was the very first day we met, and for me I think it was the second day when I looked at this guy. He looked cute.
Wow, wow, wow. And that's true. I brought her medicine. If those of you who know it, you can search for it. It was Barclays. It is very good for coughs and flu. So, and I was sure of this medication because it had come from Canada, and I decided to share it with my beloved person that I met that day.
So when he brought the medicine, I remember like in that kind of engagement, we talked, we hugged, and he's like, okay, I'm going on the journey. So I wished him well. Then I went back home, and guess what? When I went back home, one of my sisters came following me. So she saw me with this guy, and she's like, if I saw you, and truth is, you love that
You
guy.
are
I'm
in
like,
love.
guys, get serious.
Day two.
Day two, I can't be falling in love with this guy. It's like, we have seen you. We have never seen you like that. You're so happy. You're excited.
So glowing.
You're I must say, the rest is history. It was beautiful. It was nice. But the guy took me so fast.
Wow,
Oh,
wow.
my chasing.
Wow. When you find something after a long time of 5 years, when I found waiting, when I found something, I had promised myself I would not take long, because previously I had dated for 5 years. So now, after a period of 5 years, I said, when I find something that I like and I surely want, trust me, I will not delay. I'll make my intentions clear from day one, that if I love this person, I should simply marry them off. And here we are, the Ntwatwas.
Thank you so much for watching us.
Yes.
We do really appreciate your support,
Yes.
of subscribing, liking, and giving us your opinions. Please share with us
Yes.
your meeting day. Those who are married yet already,
Yes.
tell us, how did you meet? It will
That's
be
true.
interesting to read those stories.
Yes.
Until next time, bye-bye.
And please don't forget to reach out to
Yes.
us on our numbers and then on our emails. Let us know more of how you guys met. Any story that you want us to share with you, we will be here for you to share. I love you, my darling.
I love you too.
Bye-bye.
When time is up and the sun it dies, until the rivers flood and the ocean dries. Hand in hand into the the falling sky.